session, 101 South Main, Joshua, Texas. This is subject to the open meeting laws of the state of Texas. We do have a quorum present. We also, this is a Zoom meeting for anybody that wants to Zoom in and see the meeting. We've also got on the Zoom, you can click a little box if you want to ask a question, and we will get to that. That will go to the city secretary, and then we will try and call you when we get to that portion of the agenda. First item is the work session to review and discuss questions related to the budget report and financial statement for November. Does anybody have any questions? And, anybody have any questions regarding the regular session agenda items? All right, that takes care of it for the regular session. Next is public forum. City Council invites citizens to speak on any topic, however, unless the item is specifically noted on this agenda. The City Council is required under the Texas Open Meetings Act to limit its response to responding with a statement of specific factual information, reciting the city's existing policy, or directing the person making the inquiry to visit with city staff. No deliberation is permitted, and each person will have 3 minutes to speak. We do have a speaker card tonight from Kim Henderson. Alice, if you will activate Kim.
Miss Kim, if you would unmute.
There we go. I did it.
Hi, Kim.
Hello.
And just for the record, state your name and address, please, ma'am.
My name's Kim Henderson, and I'm at 605 Country Club Drive in Joshua, Texas.
Welcome. Go.
Okay, go. Well, as you know, or a lot of you know, we lost Ken Campbell last week, who was a big part of our community. He opened, I think he probably moved here like in the 60s, and in 1968 until 2001, I believe, he opened a hardware store, and right where Hickory Tree is, and had that until 2001, and then he opened Big J's auto repair. And I know a lot of times people would come to him that maybe fell on hard times. He would let them extend their bill, or sometimes even forgive it. You know, he was just that great of a man, and he never asked for acknowledgement or anything in return. He was a very humble man. He also served on the city council, I believe, back in the 70s. And y'all would know better than me, but I believe he served on a few boards there too. I know he served on the board, bank boards, and he was one of our founding members for the Joshua Chamber of Commerce. He helped me out a lot whenever I had the chamber. You could always count on him for fundraisers, for raffle prizes, for sponsorships. He was there. I know back in 2010, the city acquired his land, or I believe it was his homestead. They lived out there, but anyway, which is now Joshua City Park. I know that this would be a huge honor to him and his family if y'all would consider, talk about it, whatever, renaming this park after him. That would be a great honor. That's what I'm here for.
All right. Well, I agree with you. I think Mr. Campbell's always called him Campbell. He always called him Campbell, but I think he is a very outstanding citizen that we've had. I had thought that we might have some procedures on that, but I guess we've gotten to a certain point and never finished them up. So what I'm going to do is turn this request over to the park board, which is our type B board, and let them, see if they can't come up with some standards and give them your recommendation and see what we can come up with.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Kim. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Kim.
Merry Christmas.
Not quick, unmute. Or mute. Next is the consent agenda to consider approval of the minutes from the city council meeting held on November 17, 2020 and November 19, 2020.
Move we approve.
I'll second.
Now, motion by Scott Campbell, seconded by Mike Kidd to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Next, I'm going to open up a public hearing regarding a request to rezone the following described property locally known as the Little Brook Estates, being approximately 105.64 acres of the George Wright Survey, abstract number 916, Johnson County, Texas, changing the zoning on the foregoing properties from R1 single-family residential to R1L single-family residential large lots. Aaron, would like to give the staff presentation?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, as we all know, this area has a long and complicated history, as many property owners in the area want their properties rezoned from R1 to R1L to better fit what and how the properties are and have been utilized in terms of use, such as livestock. On November the 19th of this year, council unanimously approved the city to act as the applicant in the rezone of the Little Brook Estates. And a recommendation has been made from the Planning and Zoning Commission on December the 7th of this year for approval to the City Council for the rezoning of the Little Brook Estates from R1 to R1L. The only cost associated was the notification and publication costs, which totaled around $1,300, which was paid by the property owners. And at this time, staff would recommend approval.
All right, thank you, Aaron. I guess in this case, the city's actually the owner since we're the ones that did it. Is there anybody that's listening in that wants to speak in favor of this? Alice, is anybody?
No, sir.
Okay. Is anybody asked to speak against?
No, sir.
All right, we'll close the public hearing at 6:37. Next item will be to discuss, consider, and take possible action on the ordinance to rezone the Little Brook Estates from R1 to R1L. Does anybody have any questions about this? This is where basically those are all pretty much large lots. When they were annexed into the city, they came in as R1 because we did not have an R1L at that time. And quite a few of the residents out there would have some animals, and the way our old ordinance read, if you went 6 months and didn't do anything, you were automatically under the R1 rules. So this allows them to have the R1L. If they want to go 6 months without an animal, they can bring it back, whatever. It just has to follow the rules of R1L. Does anybody have any questions?
Did the three people who did not sign, were they talked to, or did they just couldn't get a hold of them?
Yeah, as if you remember, you guys in October when the petition was first brought to us, you had indicated and given us a directive to reach out to them again. Code enforcement Charles Mo did contact those people. Some of them did end up signing the petition, and a couple of others decided they still didn't want to sign it. But yes, we made an effort to make sure they knew what it was about and what the rezoning was for and that sort of thing. And like I said, some ended up, one of them I believe hadn't even heard about the petition. But one or two others signed, and I think a couple decided they still didn't want to sign.
Okay, but none of the three were against it. They just didn't want to sign it.
Exactly. Yeah, they weren't. No public comment against it or anything like that. They said it was on the petition.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. So yeah, so they'll be included in this, like in the catch-all, but like I said, they didn't speak out against the rezoning at all.
Anybody else have any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I'm sorry.
Got a motion by Rick Dupree, seconded by Robert Fleming, to approve the ordinance rezoning the property for Little Brook Estates from R1 to R1L. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Next is staff reports. Does anybody have any questions on the staff reports?
I would like to address Chief Short about the police department. Over the last 6-7 months, I honestly have not heard anything derogatory about our police department. The way the officers are handling, interacting with the community, and so on. And I think it reflects well on you on how you're training your officers and how you're addressing them. And I appreciate the fact that our citizens do like our police department, and they are not upset with them that I am hearing about it all.
Anybody else have any questions or comments about the staff report? All right, next is future agenda items. Does anybody have an agenda item that they'd like to see on the next agenda? Okay.
Reading that the proposed bills for the next legislature. There's SB 131, Senator Johnson. It's called the Uniform Election Dates bill. It would authorize the city council to change the date on which it holds its general election for officers to the November uniform election date, which we talked about.
Right.
And if the change is approved by at least 2/3 of the governing body, and provide that the change made under the above supersedes state city charter provision that requires a different general election date. I would like for us to have that on the next agenda to possibly get Alice to research that, or give a short presentation on it, and possibly write a letter in support of that bill.
Yeah, Robert, what we can do based off of the research Alice said we bring you guys next time, maybe even draft a resolution. That's typically what we would do in response to legislation that we support or sometimes don't support. But yes, we could certainly get something together that would be a bit more formal.
Good. Anybody else have any future agenda items?
Question and future agenda item possibly. Do we need to put it on the agenda to discuss amongst us about the city park possible name change?
I would say let's give it to the park board and see what they come up with, and then, you know, send it to us, because we have the approval, but I think that gets it to where that's typically would fall under their realm.
Yeah, and Michael, we can get that. We didn't have a meeting, obviously that would have been Monday night.
Okay.
We didn't have an EDC meeting, so I went this past Monday, so I think I wasn't able to get kind of the feel on it, but we can put that on the agenda for next month. And that way, hopefully, it gets to you, back to you guys as early as next month's meeting.
They'll be able to talk about it.
Right.
Okay.
And we have done some work on some naming requirements. It just got put on hold about 5 years ago. Never thought to bring it back out, so that'll give them a basis to start with, and they can tweak that, do whatever they want, and then the recommendation would come to us still. Anybody else? Not yet. At 6:42, we're going to go into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551, subchapter D. The City Council will recess into executive session, closed meeting to discuss the following. Section 551.074A, sub 1 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee to wit city manager.
Hey, Rick, you want to pull that door closed up there? Man, I'm a plant-based. What? Now I'm losing
You're giving the cookies.
my kids.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
eating plant-based.
it's like pumpkin pie.
We're like plant-based.
Okay, we're going to reconvene into regular session at 8:30. Going to have our attorney, Terry Welch, read the action item, and then I'll require a motion per that, what Terry reads in a second. So Terry, you're on.
Thanks, Mayor. The motion would read, I move to accept Josh Jones' resignation as city manager and to authorize the mayor to execute a contract amendment with Josh Jones. I further move to authorize the mayor to negotiate an agreement with Mike Peacock for city manager to be effective upon the last day of employment of Josh Jones. Further, any agreement negotiated by the mayor with Mike Peacock shall be subject to ratification by the city council.
Somebody can say I so moved.
I so moved.
I'll second.
They got a motion by Robert Purdle and a second by Scott Campbell. We may have any other discussion. All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. And we are adjourned.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thanks, Terry. We appreciate your help.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.